This is the base of the flow hive. Starts here. Underneath the base of the flow hive, we have the legs. It comes with a nice sight level. The reason that they have put a sight level in the side and in the back is so that you can put the adjustable legs to the optimal angle for extracting the honey. I'll show you how that's done in a second. So obviously this is the back, as I said. This will be the front. This is the landing board. This is where the bees will land, and they will enter into the colony through here. So on the base, the first thing that goes on is this metal grate. It's designed in such a way to tilt down so that if there's any extra water in the hive, for instance, a rainy day or too much condensation, it will drip down and drip out. We have a catch-all tray at the bottom, goes underneath this metal piece. That's for any extra propolis or wax that falls down for easy cleaning. That just goes into the back like so. And then to cover that up, you have this. Again, there's the other sight level I talked about. Depending which way you put it on, it either allows extra ventilation or stops ventilation going in. The reason that you'd want to stop the ventilation is wintertime. They have to keep the hive at a certain temperature, and you'd want them to be able to do that. We don't have to worry about that in Florida. But I've heard different numbers. I was told that the bees need to keep it at around 98 degrees. That's for the little babies that are born in the colony. So this just fits into the front like this. That comes down, that one goes up, and that just kind of locks it into place. On top of the base goes the brood chamber. This is the brood chamber here. So as I said when I first started the video, the bees will come into this area here. The brood chamber is made up of these frames. These frames are what the bees will actually work on to set up having all of their little babies. The queen actually lives in this area as well. The conventional way of beekeeping is called Langstroth hive. Langstroth. These actually are compatible, so you don't have to have the flow hives method in here. You can have Langstroths in here as well, and it'll work fine. So that's the second component to that. What goes on top of there is what's called the queen excluder. The queen is bigger than all the other bees that are in. The workers, the drones, the guards, etc. They can all get through, but the queen cannot. The reason that you don't want the queen getting up into the next chamber is because that's where the honey's made. So this is what makes the flow hive the flow hive. You can see that the honeycombs are already made out of plastic. So the bees don't have to make this. But the flow hive now has been going for a few years. And from all reports, the bees will build into this just as quick as they would if it was an existing colony having to fill it with honey. But that's where the honey will be put in, and I'll show you how that goes on now. So this is called the super. This sits on top of the queen excluder. And then inside the super, this fits in just like this. It's got nice adjustments on the back, so you can adjust the size while it's inside. It has viewing windows, not one, not two, but three. So you can actually watch the hive working, filling up the honeycomb with honey. So you'll know when to extract the honey, but you can also see how well the colony is doing without the traditional method of having to pull everything out and have a look. You can actually see them. Both sides are made of this glass, plastic actually, but. And then at the back here, This is where the flow hive comes into its own. So you can see here's another viewing window. This is the very back of the unit. So when the bees make the honey, they start in the center, they work out, and then they work back. So by being able to view the back, you can see when all of the honeycombs are actually filled with honey and then they're sealed with wax. That's when you know when it's time for harvesting the honey. And the way you would do that is this little valve at the bottom here pulls out. This top here pulls out. Then what happens is this metal unit goes all the way down to the back. You give it a 90-degree turn. It actually, what it's done by giving it the 90-degree turn is it split the honeycomb inside. So all of the honey now flows down towards the middle of this and then straight down into this plastic pipe. The bees don't even know that the honey's being extracted. It's easy to reset once all the honey's been taken out. You just put it into the top now. 90-degree turn, and now it's reset, ready for the next honey to fill the combs. This little viewing piece of wood becomes a shelf. So that sits into here. And when you're ready to extract the honey, it's a really nice design what they've done here. They've put a little lip at the back. And the reason that they've done that is that when this sits in, the honey will pour out of here, but any residual honey will then flow back into the hive and the bees can actually grab it. The reason that the bees have the honey is for food. That's normally why they make the honey. And that just comes back out. And then the plastic cap would go back on, like so. And the top cap would then go back on, like that. On top of the super then goes another barrier. You can actually put, depending on the size of your colony, an entire another level in for the bees if they needed extra honey. And to do that, this wooden plug just comes out and the bees could actually come up here and start making new comb again if they needed to, or a full another box can go on. And then on top of that goes the roof. Supposedly. There we go. All right, and that's the flow hive. From start to finish yesterday, it took us about 9 hours, and that included staining and putting together all the brood chamber frames. We'll let you know how it goes.